Welcome to the Film Fanatic Family Channel. This is our one marvelous scene.
Our compliments to Nando v Movies, who welcomed a group of remarkable YouTubers to celebrate the 11 years and 21 movies of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the arrival of Avengers Endgame, which Nando called, rightfully so, the biggest movie ever made. Nando suggested we needed to look back at what made this series so special. He was kind enough to open the playlist to a group of hand-picked YouTube essayists, but also welcomed everyone who had something to contribute to the conversation.
We've been watching most of the 137 marvelous scenes and noticed that one movie was noticeably absent. Yep, we watched and categorized the playlist. We're nerds. That one lonely movie? You guessed it. It's Thor, The Dark World. The neglected and somewhat abused orphan of the Marvel movies. To be sure, Dark World has its issues. There's some pacing problems, and Malekith is another mostly forgettable Marvel villain. It's also dark. Go figure. Darkly grim and dark, it's like we can't see.
But Dark World also has some really enjoyable scenes. The best, the most important of which, we will address here. Frigga's death and funeral sets the conditions for not just the remainder of Dark World, but also drives Thor's character arc and, as we now know, the endgame itself. Rene Russo's Frigga has some meager screen time in the original Thor and the beginnings of Dark World. But once we come to this pivotal scene, she earns praise as a worthy warrior queen. First, she demonstrates some stellar Matrix-like swordsmanship, besting Malekith in single combat until his henchman, Curse, intervenes.
Keep in mind that in 2013, with this scene, Frigga joined a short list of tough Marvel female characters, but Black Widow is the only one with substantial action screen time. Lady Sif, Maria Hill, Peggy Carter, and Jane Foster contributed in their tiny parts, and Pepper Potts accidentally joined the group as more a fighter than administrator in Iron Man 3 just before Dark World. So Frigga putting a smackdown on Malekith was a great addition.
Then Frigga uses her sorcery to deceive Malekith and Curse, buying time to protect Jane and the Ether. Earlier, Frigga revealed she shares Loki's gift for illusion in the prison scene, which we'll cover more of later. But here, the magic is crucial to keep Jane safe. She welcomes the title Witch, which Malekith roars before ordering her execution. Thor arrives and burns half of Malekith's face with a lightning strike, matching the Dark Elf's comic book appearance. Malekith and Curse escape Thor's pursuit as Odin arrives to see his beloved queen die. He is stricken.
This is the beginning of the end for Odin. He has little to live for. Loki bewitches Odin off camera at the end of Dark World, and Odin is awaiting death in Norway in the beginning of Thor Ragnarok. Odin's death paves the way for Hela's return, Asgard's ruin, and the decimation that befalls the Asgardians in Infinity War.
The cut to the funeral scene is pure pageantry. Frigga is borne away in an apocryphal Viking funeral, borne to the falls in a burning longboat. At Odin's signal, her body wisps to stars and joins the constellations. The scene and mournful score by Brian Taylor recall other movies and pull Thor into vengeful action. This is an emotional scene and the catalyst for Thor and Loki to overcome their enmity, to work together to avenge their mother.
The The fascinating part of the Marvel Universe has been Kevin Feige and his many directors' ability to weave stories together. Links and fan service from moments within one film to moments spanning the 21 films. Within Dark World, we have the foreshadowing of Mother Frigga speaking with Loki and revealing her powers of illusion. We know the books and furnishings of his cell are a gift from her. Though he rejects the thought of reading books for eternity, that is exactly what he's doing, first when the prison break occurs, and then later when a guard reveals that his adoptive mother, who he spurned, is dead. Loki reveals his fury in the instant destruction of the very gifts she gave him.
Frigga's death drives the remainder of the film. The death of parental figures often serves as the push for a hero's journey to begin, in too many tales. Here's but a few.
Star Wars, Superman, Dune, Batman, Braveheart, Batman again, Superman again, Batman and Superman again. Geez, we get it. Disney relies heavily on the premise. Snow White, Cinderella, Bambi, Frozen, and so on. Of course, the story, Hamlet, is retold in The Lion King. Recall that while evil brother Scar pushes Mufasa from the cliff, it's Simba's foolishness that put Mufasa there. Simba's endangerment forced Mufasa's heroic actions. Likewise, within the Marvel Universe, Peter Parker's lack of action is the direct cause of Uncle Ben's death.
It's the same with Loki. His mischievous nature in pointing the way for Curse
might want to take the stairs to the left.
Leads inevitably to Frigga's death. Frigga, the one person who loved Loki unconditionally. Her death wrecked him, without even the opportunity to grieve at her funeral. His sorrow is revealed unburnished when Thor comes to him for aid. Loki has wrecked his cell and lost all princely pretenses.
Frigga's funeral reminds us of other movies. Boromir's funeral ship at the Falls, Vader's pyre on Endor, and most of all, the cult classic, Dragonheart. In Dark World, we see a replication of the Draco scene when Frigga joins the heavens. Even Randy Edelman's soaring theme, Into the Stars, seems closely copied by Brian Taylor's Into Eternity.
Frigga and Draco both join the heavens to similar soaring scores. Then there's the remarkable ties between Marvel movies. Dark World featured a deleted scene where Thor questions whether Frigga regretted teaching Loki her witchcraft.
Do you ever regret sharing your magic with him?
No. You and your father cast large shadows. I had hoped by sharing my gifts with Loki that he could find some sun for himself.
Instead, she reveals she did so to allow Loki to earn some sunshine of his own in the deep shadows of his brother Thor and father Odin.
This idea is repeated immediately before Loki's demise, his third at the hands of the mad titan Thanos in Avengers Infinity War.
I assure you, brother.
Loki promises the sun will shine again
on us
upon
again.
the brothers who came to a sort of reconciliation in Thor Ragnarok.
I feel like everything's gonna work out fine.
Finally, as we now know, Frigga's death in Thor: The Dark World plays an integral part in Avengers Endgame. Thor must revisit the moments before Frigga perishes in order to retrieve the ether. Is it a marvel that the least appreciated movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe now becomes one of the most important? Except when you realize that both Dark World and Endgame were penned by the same writing duo, Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely. They've pulled a huge gotcha remaking a poorly received film into an essential one.
Thanks for joining us. If you liked this video, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. Tell us what you want to see in the future. Sign up for notifications and join us for our regular film reviews, trailer reactions, and family-focused movie material.
We are the Film Fanatics family.
Out!